In this clip, we are going to have a closer look to the node graph and how node-based compositing is working. Okay, here is our node graph, and it's here that everything will happen. And before going any further, I need to make a quick stop and have a quick explanation about what is node-based compositing. Some of you may be familiar with layer-based compositing, like in After Effects, for example. In After Effects, you will have different layers on the top of each others, and you will apply effects and corrections to each layers. Here, it's a bit different. We have little boxes, like Legos, for example, that we call nodes, which are connected to each other. And this allowed us to create a procedural script. Each node has a function. For instance, here I will have a color bar node, and the color bar node will display a color bar. And I will attach to the color bar node a blur node, and the function of the blur node is to blur the node above. And to that node, I can apply a color correction, and so on and so on. If you come from layer-based compositing or editing, you are used to timelines and layers. Well, here we have the same thing in Nuke. It's just represented a little bit differently. We have the timeline here, and our layers will be group of nodes. So I'm not here to tell you which is the best, because both systems have their pros and cons. But when it comes down to big full CG and VFX shots to comp, nodal compositing is pretty powerful and handy. And you will understand why through this series of tutorials. Okay, now let's see the different ways of creating nodes. Well, we do have actually 4 ways to create a node. The first one is to select a node in the toolbar here. And so they're organized by category. So for example, if you leave your mouse over an icon, you will have a little help appearing telling you what is the name of that category, which is also basically true for a bit of everything in Nuke. If you leave your mouse on something for a little bit longer, it will tell you a little bit what is this icon is about. Okay, back to the nodes. For example, over the color category here, I will find the color correction nodes. Let's take, for example, color correct. There you go. The second way to create a node is by doing a right click on your node graph, and then the same list of category will appear exactly the same way as up there. And so, for example, I will be able here to create, a defocus. There we go. The third way of creating a node is by typing the Tab key of your keyboard, and then you will be able to type the node that you're looking for. Let's say I'm looking for a transform node. So I will type transform, and here in the list, so I will be able to select it and hit enter. There we go. And the last way of creating a node is by using shortcuts. For example, T for transform or B for blur. And those shortcuts can be found in the menus because, for example, the transform is under that menu, and you can see there's a little T on the side of the transform. It means that T is the shortcut for transform. And here, for example, the merge node will be M. Or if we go back to color correction, G for grade or C for color correct. So yeah, so many ways of creating nodes. You will quickly find your habits. I think that for now, the tab key and the shortcuts may not be your favorites as you're discovering the software, but as soon as you'll get used to it, you'll see that this is a very, very convenient way. Now, to connect nodes between each other, you will just have to grab the little input or the little output of a node and just drag and drop it onto another node. And in that way, you'll be able to connect nodes. To move in the node graph, you will simply have to hold down the Alt key, and with the left mouse button of your mouse, you just simply drag and drop to pan around. Or if you'd like to zoom or unzoom, you can do that with the scroll button of your mouse. Okay, this is it for the node graph, and in the next video we are going to see how to import images in Nuke. See you there.